Bookius, Talkius. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the long-awaited 8th installment of the Harry Potter franchise, has finally come out. So exciting. But is this the long-awaited gem or kind of a misstep? Well, it certainly is the most unusual of the Harry Potter books, obviously due to the fact that it's not a book, it's a play, and what we've got here is the hardcover of the script. The medium of theatre has its own strengths and weaknesses compared to the novel, and translating something that is so inherently novel or even just movie-based into a play is a challenge. Hell, translating a book into a movie can be a challenge, but there's an additional layer with it when it comes to theatre, because both movies and novels are easily narrative-based, whereas plays are a lot more focused on the dialogue and character to explore specific themes. So having a Harry Potter play was actually always going to be a little bit of a challenge, and I can understand why some people don't enjoy it. It's a very different beast. Fantastic beast. Where to find them? Find it there. It's on my bookshelf. That was a terrible joke. I'm very sorry. Sorry. What did I think of it? Well, I really liked it. I did go in with slightly lowered expectations because I hate that epilogue so much. I had zero interest reading about the adventures of Harry Potter and the gang's offspring. I also did theatre throughout high school, so reading scripts is a lot easier for me than it would be for people who only have experience with books. That said, it's not a barrier. This is a very easy script to read. And yeah, I did really like it. The complaints that a lot of people have with it, I can see it, but the themes that the book was exploring were interesting enough and important enough that I didn't mind that the narrative skips occasionally, and that things that if you'd had a full book to foreshadow and to weave in wouldn't have been so silly. So yeah, Harry Potter Cursed Child gets a thumbs up from me. I've kept it very general in that section, but I want to talk specific spoilers, which means you haven't read it yet, you want to read it, go read it. It's a play. It does not take long to read. 3-4 hours if you're an average speed reader, a little bit longer if you're slower, but yeah, it's an easy read to get through. And it's important. It's the next Harry Potter one. It's part of the official canon, and we don't know if we're going to be seeing Albus, Scorpius, or other characters, keeping it spoiler free, later on. Okay, so first off, we need to talk about the time turners. I feel that if she had a complete book to work out the plot and everything, the time turners wouldn't have felt like such a just, and here we go. But then again, the time turner was always a little bit, and here we go. We need this plot point to happen, so now you can go back in time. Well, are we gonna do it again? No, we're not gonna do it again. And this book does actually explore that. Again, I think it may have been a little bit cathartic for J.K. Rowling to be writing this, and it's like, here's why you don't go back and change the past. Cause shit can get worse. The basic premise is, of course, that Scorpius and Albus, who are the children of Draco and Harry, are close friends. They've both been put into Slytherin. They are both not having a fun time at Hogwarts because Hogwarts continues to be a shitty school. I'm sorry, it is. It just is. Let's not pretend for a second that Hogwarts is a nice place. It's not. I'll have a whole rant about that and about my poor house that is continuously just shat upon throughout the books. Back on topic. So Albus and Scorpius are going to go back in time and try and save Cedric Diggory. Albus feeling motivated because they describe Diggory as the spare, and that's kind of how he feels. He feels like he's a spare in his own life because he's the disappointing child of Harry Potter, which is a shit thing for a kid to feel. That said, Albus, in terms of personality, is very book 4 and 5 of Harry Potter, which means he whines, he's really upset, and not much else. That said, him, Polyjuice, to be Ron, top work, brilliant. Scorpius is a delight throughout the entire book. They go back in time to try and stop Cedric winning the Triwizarding Tournament and getting stuck with Harry in the Portkey and getting killed by Voldemort. Just trying to save his life. But them making Cedric fail the dragon test has just pushed him harder to win the next test. So they've not successfully stopped him winning the Triwizarding Tournament. What they have screwed up is Ron and Hermione's relationship. Anyway, so they go back again. This time they humiliate Cedric during the next trial, and Cedric is so humiliated that he actually becomes a Death Eater and kills Neville Longbottom. So Nagini doesn't die, Voldemort doesn't die, Voldemort wins. Which is a hell of a consequence. Cedric as a Death Eater though, that's a really interesting idea. And I feel like it actually kind of works, if for no other reason than this is our first Hufflepuff who's ever a bad guy. And I really like that. He is kind. But you know what? Even his kindness has limits. It can break. And I don't doubt for a second that the school would have never let him forget his humiliation. 'Cause again, the school is full of assholes. It's a terrible place. I'm just gonna get so much hate for just shitting on Hogwarts. And the kids are awful. Rose, Hermione and Ron's daughter, is willing to shut off her cousin forever because he is a Slytherin. Incidentally, Albus and Scorpius should not be Slytherins. They're not cunning or ambitious. The freak does that hat decide who's going where? Anyway, that's way too much time spent on the Time Turners. Now, the other big thing that a lot of people have problems with is Delphi, our new character. Very early on, we hear this rumor that Scorpius is the son of Voldemort, because his mom went back in time with a time turner, determined to get a pureblood child, and screwed Voldemort. Just keep that mental image in your head. Yeah. Which does actually foreshadow both time turners and a child of Voldemort's, and that is actually who Delphi is. Delphi is introduced as the cousin of Cedric Diggory, who we've never heard of before, and something is always a little bit off with her. I kind of forgot she existed for a little bit, and then she comes back into the plot and I'm like, oh, so villain. Because you have to be, because there's no other reason for you to come back into this plot. Delphi, it turns out, is actually the child of Bellatrix Lestrange and, yeah, Voldemort. They were getting it on in book 6, apparently. I don't see how that's a thing that happened. This is where it starts to fall apart a little bit. Delphi has too many potential plot holes around her when it comes to timing. But she serves her point. She is an antagonist to force them to confront themes. Again, the theme being letting go of death and accepting it, which comes to a head in the final moment. That final moment where Harry is in the past and he has to let his parents die. The one thing he's always wanted to change, the one thing that was his happiest vision in the Mirror of Erised, he has to accept their deaths and finally move on from it. And you get the sense that he hadn't when he's fighting with Albus at one point, and Albus throws out the, "I wish you were never my dad." And it's like, well, I never even had a dad. And yeah, it was a moment of intense emotion because they were fighting and everything, but Harry had never gotten over that. It's a thing that clawed at him the entire time. And maybe it wouldn't have if he'd had a more happy upbringing than with the Dursleys. Which brings me to the other point the book brings up. Dumbledore is shit. How many hates could I get on this video just saying beloved Harry Potter icons are shit? Which is not just, Dumbledore is not actually shit. I hate the idealization of Dumbledore because he's not perfect, he's not great. He's frequently made mistakes, and this play is Harry finally calling him out on it, which he needed to do. And I really liked that the book explored that. You had Harry talking to Dumbledore's portrait, which yes, obviously is not actually Dumbledore, but it's a way for him to cope with it, to actually understand and see what was his father figure is flawed, accept it for who he is, and move on. It was, in my opinion, a really important scene to happen. Throughout the Harry Potter series, there is this idea that you're not necessarily inherently born evil. You think it is with Voldemort, but then you also see other things brought into it. You see the redemption of Draco. To me, this book had the most satisfying Snape moments throughout the series. It had him saying that I joined this cause because of my love for Lily, but I stayed with it because I came to believe in it. Which is important. Snape doing everything because of an unrelenting crush. I just don't like it. I don't like this idea that that's all he is, that that's the only thing that's going to inspire him to be good. But this was him coming into his own, accepting that he had to do the right thing, even though it meant he was going to die, because it was a cause he believed in. I really like this book. The more I've been talking about it through this review, the more I've decided that I really do like it. It's not the best written Harry Potter out there. It's not the most engaging Harry Potter narrative that you're ever going to find. In a way, even though I like it, it feels separate to the main canon to me. But it's important. It is so satisfying to see some of these character beats and see some of these themes explored and just get a catharsis that was missing in the original series. So yeah, this turned out to be way longer than I was planning on doing. But yeah, buy the script. It's funny. There's a lot of funny parts in it. It's sweet. Yeah. Okay. Peace out, everyone.